Hi Star Wars fans, and welcome to my vintage collection Boba Fett review. Note the shirt.
Put Captain Solo in the cargo hold.
He's the bounty hunter we all know and love, and now you can get another version of his action figure. His articulation is great. He's got ball-hinged shoulder, elbow, swivel wrist, ball-hinged knee and foot, swivel hips, and a swivel torso, as well as a ball-hinged head. And one more interesting bit of articulation, because I think it's for his flamethrower, he has this tube going from his upper arm to his forearm. You'd think that would restrict articulation there, but it doesn't, because there's this little sliver of plastic that is actually a separate piece that swivels, so that no matter how you twist this wrist, you can always swivel the plastic up to make it a nice loose fit. So not that it's an extra point of articulation per se, but it's fixing a problem that they otherwise would have had. So let's start with the way he looks. The paint is really good on this guy, especially on his armor. He has a lot of battle damage. You can see especially his helmet is just, riddled with battle damage. It's, got silver parts all over, shining through. He's got the, the correct little dent that he's supposed to have up on the helmet. And it's like that on all the parts of his armor. The actual cloth is, just one color. It doesn't have any sort of weathering, but it's made up for it in all the armor pieces having a lot of weathering. He has a cloth goods cape, which is longer, definitely longer than it's supposed to be. It's only supposed to go up to, about his thighs, but it still looks pretty good regardless, but as soon as you start to focus on it, you realize, wow, that thing's humongous. I like that it has little bullet holes. It's starched up, so it has this kind of permanent fold on it, which is nice. I have a question for you guys. On the top part of his cape, I'm not sure if this is a tear or if that's the intentional way that it was put together. If you have this figure, please tell me if this is just my figure and this is a problem, or if this is the intentional way that the cape is built. He's pretty movie accurate, although he is missing little things, like on his belt he doesn't have these small pouches all the way around, but he's supposed to in the movie. Also, his wrist guards in the movie are colored red, and here they're just the same sort of green that his helmet is. Which, come to speak of it, his helmet is actually slightly too light of a green. It's lighter than his chest plate, but not really noticeably bad. Here's his face. He does not look like Jango Fett to me. The jetpack, although it has a lot of weathering, doesn't quite have the right colors that it's supposed to. I know it's supposed to have some blues and reds, and I think even a little bit of yellow. It was kind of a colorful jetpack, and here it's pretty much all gray, just with weathering. And even with slight inaccuracies, he still has a lot of detail to it, which is really cool. Like I said, the cord for the flamethrower, or whatever it is, connecting right into his gauntlet. The whole gauntlet swivels instead of just his wrist. He has the little braids hanging loose off of his right shoulder. He has the cape, he has the knee pads, and even you can see little things in the pockets and in the front of his shins. He's got all sorts of little details on his belt, including pouches and pockets, and and even on his left hand you can see maybe a little number pad and some buttons. Oh, and in case you're wondering, his scale is pretty darn good. He's a little bit shorter than maybe your average figure, but as I was looking through some still images from the movies, he actually is kind of a short character. He definitely looks up to Darth Vader. He's shorter than the other bounty hunters, and so it's actually a correct representation of his size. Okay, so let's look at this guy's accessories. He actually comes with quite a few. There's his helmet, which is really cool. It's actually really rubbery, which I was surprised at. But it works because it puts a nice tight fit on his head. His jetpack is removable. It has a peg on the back. That's how it goes into his back, like so. It stays in there pretty well, but it falls out every once in a while. Here's his sawed-off blaster rifle, which is really cool. It's got, nice paint, nice weathering. It's got brown and black and silver. And here's his pistol, which goes into this holster on his back right leg, like so. It gets in there just fine, but it's actually really hard to get out, and because the tip is so thin, I'm afraid that one of these days it's going to break, so I just plan on leaving it in that holster. Both guns can fit in either one of his hands, although the pistol doesn't fit too well in his left hand because it's a little too big for his grip. Okay, so this is a really cool looking figure, although he has a few canonical errors, like the sheer size of this cape, a little bit of the coloration, but he has a lot of great things, like great accessories, even though I'm afraid the little pistol's gonna break. It's just a really detailed figure, and I really like that about him. You know, this guy was so close to being perfect. If it weren't for just a few details, like the biggest one in my opinion is that this cape drapes all the way to the floor, and I don't know, that just kind of looks silly to me. If it weren't for just a few little things like that, this guy would definitely be a 5 out of 5, but I'm gonna give him 4.5 out of 5. You know, just a few little errors, but he's still an awesome figure. And definitely, if you're a Fett fan, you should be picking this up. Thanks for watching. See ya.